about 15 minutes. Max Olson has written the story, and the story is that, well, The Athletic reporting along with Stuart Mandel, if George Kliavkoff delivers an offer for Pac-12 media rights that is underwhelming, the Big 12 is prepared to pounce. That's renewed optimism about landing the Four Corner schools. Now, also, this is what was being said, is that there has been contact again. Now, whether it's the Big 12 contacting schools, what you legally can or cannot do, or those schools being in contact with the Big 12, third party, whatever, this is something that is, again, new. Doesn't mean it's official, doesn't mean that it's absolute fact that this is going to happen, but at least it's something new, or at least something that's kind of emerged among the two conferences.
I do think that we're getting to the point where they're with, especially within the schools in the Pac-12, there are going to be dividing line factions among the ones that feel that they have options. Now, I would think that where those factions head depend on who are the more powerful people on either side of the factions. You know, we're tired of this nonsense, let's go to another conference, or we're tired of this nonsense, but that's more nonsense we can't wrap our heads around right now. Because I think pretty much across the board, there's probably not 100%, but most people are probably fed up with how the Pac-12 is doing things right now and how it's been for the last, commissioner with Larry Scott, and then how it's gone with this media deal. So, yeah, I'm sure there's some frustration, but where do you have the people who said, let's stay and stick this out and try to make it work, and the ones who are like, well, what are you trying to make it work for? That's where I think it'll get interesting, and who really has that clout and who thinks they have that clout, and where are they kind of swimming in what waters.
The Athletic also, again, quoting Mack Rhoades from his comments to us in his weekly segment with us as a part of this story, but apparently there may be new contact between the two. Max Olson, Stuart Mandel, Dennis Dodd, Sheehan, all of them are a part of the reporting for two different outlets, theathletic.com, Craig, and also CBS Sports.
Yeah, I mean, like the fifth paragraph, there we are with Mac's comments from earlier this week. And, it's funny to me in a way that these are comments Mac's been making, I mean, pretty much for like a year. And I guess, just it's a matter of timing and outsiders, and by outsiders, I mean just people that normally wouldn't hear a Mack Rhoades quote because of just what they listen to or whatnot, not being aware that this was kind of already being talked about. It just wasn't on a level of where we were like at, code 5, and something seems like it could be actually happening. So, he's pretty much like, that's the line that he's maintained this entire time of the Big 12 is going to be ready. And that's what they've all been saying ever since Brett Yormark made the comment that we're open for business last summer. I mean, that's basically what he's been repeating, and, never saying outright, we're going to go get these schools or we're going to go after these schools, but just simply saying like, hey, if there's an opportunity, then yeah, we're going to take it. And I'm sure in some of their quotes, they've been very intentional in how they threw that out there to maybe rock the boat a little bit. And if that was the case, then I think it was successful because, yeah, I think you look at the Pac right now, and there's a bunch of people looking for the lifeboat, but they don't really know which direction to swim just yet, or if they can trust the other folks that they're going the right direction. There's a lot of, I guess seeds of doubt that have been planted now at this point that are starting to have their effect on the Pac-12's, fan psyche, if anything. Just the fact that, you might have gone from simple apathy most of the time of, you have people who care about the Pac-12 and then people who just, it's like, whatever, to now, like, the whole country's looking at the Pac-12, and every time they seemingly have a pie thrown in their face because another day goes by without a TV deal, it's just a little more embarrassing, and it's a little tougher to take, and then you start to get a little impatient, and then you start to wonder, like, are those people right? Are we a clown show? Like, is this really not going to work out? And I think that's starting to kind of happen a little bit of fans of certain programs are like, wait, should we be jumping right now? Like, is that really our best move that maybe otherwise didn't think that before? Because this has continued to go on. So, yeah, it's a very interesting time. It's obviously not new news to us that we're, in this sort of period because we've been talking about it now for, a while. And certainly for the expansion folks out there, like, I'll admit something. I think it was like a month ago we had somebody, it was probably longer than that, say, what are your thoughts on any future expansion? And albeit I did not consider the Pac-12, SMU, San Diego State. Like, I wasn't thinking in that realm of things. I was thinking more of like, big-time structure-shifting moves like a USC, UCLA, like an OU in Texas. I wasn't so much thinking about, the equivalent of Houston, BYU, and them jumping up a level, because that just seems like that's going to happen. But here we are, and it's as chaotic as ever. The other moves were made kind of in the dark of night. This one is just, it's sort of slowly building, and you just wonder when it's finally going to erupt.
Well, and part of the Stuart Mandel and his Twitter feed, it said today the Big 12 ready to pounce on the Pac-12 four corner schools and could invite Gonzaga. Again, that part of that's the quote from Mack Rhodes to us even 2 weeks ago. But the Pac-12 TV numbers might not be as dire as has been rumored. So that's also a part of this article. Paul, my question is, who leaked this out there? I know that you got to give Stuart and Dennis and Max and Sheehan, all of them credit because they're doing their jobs, and they all are very good at what they do. But in your opinion, did somebody benefit by this story coming out today? And why did that come out today?
Well, I mean, it depends on how the story ends, right? How it benefits. Now, look, if somebody leaked this story out that it could be happening to these leaks kind of keep happening. This kind of keeps popping out there about the four corner schools especially. And so there's two schools of thought. Either that is, those four schools really getting, ants in their pants and wanting to go, right? Or that is the concern that this isn't getting done and a threat to make sure it does get done. So you leak that out there to kind of cover yourself. Or if you were another school that was actually looking, you might leak it out so that people stop talking about you. So that could all happen. There's all those possibilities. That's what right now, I think a lot of this is trying to set up some kind of, end game for it here in the next few weeks before they get the TV deal or not. But
all right, well, Jason Shear, who's going to join us at 5, Arizona to have meeting with Big 12 this week. That was something he posted back in July of last year. And he's been reporting that. And, of course, there have been people peppering him for that not being the case. But he today has said, okay, that's what I reported. And, of course, some have said that's not true. So a lot of this is interesting. But when you say in contact and then parts of what has been reported back in contact. Now, who can contact whom? Can teams or programs contact another conference? We've seen that. Or can a conference contact teams who are under contract? No. Is that some sort of tortious interference? So it would have to be some third party or a program who reaches out to a conference.
I mean, it'd be a third party or it'd be the schools reaching out. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's the way that it went.
That's what I mean by program.
It's the schools reaching out. It's the conferences can't reach out and do that because, that would be some type of interference. So at least to my knowledge, that's what it would be. So, I would think this is, let's just say Arizona was interested. I think, there's some third party that they're talking through, or Arizona reps themselves would be, and I'm not reporting that obviously, but they would be the ones to send a little message down the pipeline of like, hey, let's talk about, what's going on here. But that's interesting if true. And, I'm sure we'll find out soon enough whether it is or not. But it's an interesting time because, like I said, it seemed like there was that quiet period. Everything has sort of settled down. I know for a lot of the expansion heads that never really stops. But I just didn't see business picking up this quickly. So shout out to the folks who were kind of calling that there was something, impending with the Pac, because I just figured they were going to get their TV deal and then we were going to move on, but that thing just kept dragging and dragging. And so I don't know if this was set to happen, but I do think that the longer it's gone on, that this has allowed everything else to sort of grow in a way you didn't expect it to.
We do need to